Hi Lacrosse fans, welcome back to episode number 24 of the Sticks and Picks Lacrosse podcast presented by Lacrosse Unlimited. Lacrosse Unlimited has provided the best equipment, apparel, and lacrosse footwear since 1990. Be sure to check out their website at lacrosseunlimited.com. I'm your host, Will Petchnig, alongside co-host Jake Fox. In today's episode, we talk to one of the game's future stars. He's got a future Hall of Famer as his father, and without a doubt, Dyson Williams will be a well-known name throughout the lacrosse world for many years to come. Dyson talks about being around his dad's professional lacrosse career at a young age, his own young and very successful lacrosse career to date, and he talks about his younger brother Tucker, who passed away at a young age from cancer, but was always braver than brave. He's a four-time minor Canadian national champion with Team Ontario. He's a 2019 Under Armour All-American playing for the Hill Academy, a 2019 OLA Junior A first-team All-Star. He was the third-ranked incoming freshman in NCAA lacrosse prior to this past season. He is a current member of the Duke Blue Devils and Whitby Warriors Junior A team. He's on the Thornton watch list as a freshman, and he will, without a doubt, be one of the best players in the world. Welcome, Dyson Williams.
Yeah, thanks for having me, boys. Pleasure to be here.
Little bit of a pump up there for you, eh?
Yeah, I'll take it. I mean, try to be humble, but I'll take it.
No, it's definitely deserving. I've had the pleasure to kind of watch you grow up as a player over the last few years, and it's definitely exciting to see how well you're doing today. So we're going to kind of jump right into things here and talk about growing up and kind of getting to watch your dad be a dominant professional lacrosse player and how you got involved in the game of lacrosse.
Yeah, so myself getting involved in the game of lacrosse kind of started right when I was born. I was born in February, so right in the middle of the NLL season. That was in 2000. My dad was playing for the Bandits at the time. So I think it was around a week. I was a week old, I think, at my first lacrosse game. So it's kind of born right into the game, which is pretty cool. So ever since then, never looked back kind of thing. And growing up watching my dad play was obviously a pleasure, being able to watch him. He's such a great player, but that gave me some of the best memories I can remember in my childhood, and just being at the rink, being a ball boy, and just watching some of the best lacrosse you can at a young age definitely helped me get me to where I am today. And watching guys play with him like John Gray Jr., the two of them having that two-man game on the left side, just really special thing to grow up and watch, and definitely kind of helped me grow my game even more just watching them.
You grew up playing Whitby minor. What was that like for you? Obviously, it's only been, 3 years since you've been done minor, maybe 4 now. But obviously, some of the probably better memories are playing minor and going on road trips.
Yeah, for sure. The group of guys that I played with growing up are some guys I'll be friends with for the rest of my life. We had a great group every year, and we were always contenders for provincial championships. And we were lucky enough, I think, the core group of guys my age, I think we won around 9 A provincial championships from tyke to midget. So that was definitely awesome. And we were just being able to compete every year with these guys and be one of the top teams was lots of fun. And then being able to, we capped off our final year as a group in midget, winning both the field and box was definitely a special moment for us as a team. And definitely, yeah, like you said, definitely I have memories from minor lacrosse that I'll never forget. And it's definitely amazing time playing for Whitby.
Jesus, I never even sniffed the finals for provincials, and you won 9 of them. My God, it must be nice playing for Whitby.
Yeah, I mean, like Whitby has been like that, and sadly, like the numbers are starting to like slow down in Whitby, but hopefully it gets back up to where it was, because it's a special thing putting the blue, white, and red jersey and being able to go out there and try to win some provincials every year.
You always had Shawnee, your dad, coach you quite a bit throughout minor. How much of his game, from watching him play pros and everything, have you tried to develop into your game?
A lot, for sure. I mean, just being able to watch him, whether it was in the NLL or in the MSL when he played for the Redmen, who are now the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club. Just watching him play and the way his work ethic and just the way he's like how much of a playmaker he is, and it was special to watch, and I definitely have been able to learn a lot of things from him. And the cool thing about having him as my coach is that when it's lacrosse practice or game time, it's the father-son relationship kind of gets put to the side, and he doesn't treat me as a son, he treats me as a player, which is exactly what I needed. And being able to grow up like that was cool, because when you're young, it's obviously your father's your coach. You see like, oh, it's your dad on the bench, but no, it's like he's my coach, and he's really focusing on developing me as a lacrosse player. And that was a case ever since I started playing when I was really young. So it was definitely cool having him coach, and then still having him coach me for the Junior A Warriors right now is awesome.
What was like your experience growing up? Obviously, you probably made your way into a lot of locker rooms, whether it be with the stacked teams the Redmen had back in the day, or going into Buffalo and all the other teams your dad paid for. What was that like, being able to be such a young guy and just be around all those pro lacrosse players?
I think having that experience as a kid was definitely helped me become who I am today. Just kind of seeing the way that all these guys went about themselves in the locker room before games, the way they focused on game day, prepared. Because I can remember like even being like 7 years old and going to Rochester, and I'd spend like all of game day with my dad. We'd go like morning shoot around, and you'd be on the floor, and it'd be like John Grant Jr., my dad, Sean Evans, all those guys, Scotty Evans, like all the Micah Kersey, and like just watching them prepare and go. And then we'd go, and I was lucky enough to go to like the pregame meal, like at lunchtime, and then just hang out and just be around. Then pregame, and eventually Tucker, my brother, would join me, and we'd be ball boys on the floor before pregame. So it was cool just being able to hang out in the locker room and spend the time with the guys that way, and just kind of get to know those guys at a young age, because you grow up and you kind of like idolize these players, but it's almost like you're friends with them when you're just like a little kid. So that was definitely a really cool experience.
And then you played and won 4 national championships with Team Ontario. Talk about that experience. Did you do all of them in Whitby? Did you get to travel a little bit?
I think 2 of them. So I won 3 box ones and then 1 field. My Pee Wee and midget championships were in Whitby, which was awesome, which was really cool. But I think Bantam was in New West, BC, and then the field one was my minor midget year. We went to Halifax, so it was cool being able to travel for 2 of them and then be kind of at the home rink for the other 2. And those tournaments were always fun, just because you compete all summer with these guys from Ontario, and you play against all like the best players, and being able to kind of create that team with all the best players from all these teams that you face all year was really cool, because it's kind of just like create that like all-star team feel. And like always had a good rivalry with like Team Iroquois, Team BC, and being able to go like battle with the guys that you're usually battling against was definitely a really cool experience, and kind of gives you like a little taste of maybe what it's like to play with these guys like further down the road, like in the future.
Yeah, no, exactly. And you talked a little bit about your field there going out to Nova Scotia. You actually went to the Hill Academy. How did that all come about? And I know there's a lot of Whitby guys that end up going to the Hill for field lacrosse.
Yeah, so my dad being able to play with and against Patrick Merrill and Brody Merrill, ever since the Hill kind of became a thing, my dad obviously knew them, and Brody would always say to my dad, like, Dyson's coming to the Hill. And it was always like a maybe. I was really young when it first became a school. I think it was like 06 or 07. I think it was 06 that the Hill started. But so obviously I was really young at the time, and it didn't seem like it would be a reality. But once I got closer to that high school age, I spent a year at Maxwell Heights in Oshawa Public School, but then in grade 9. And then after that, it was kind of just talking more with Brody. And then decided to visit the hill one day and go check it out. And as soon as I stepped there and I did a practice with them, and I knew I fit in there perfectly, and it was like where exactly I wanted to be. And honestly, being there was unbelievable experience. Being able to be coached by like Brody Merrill, Patrick Merrill, Riley O'Connor, Kyle Calais, like Luke Magnon, Reed Acton, like you name it, like all the guys and the coaching staff there are amazing and have accomplished so much in lacrosse and in life that the experiences and the lessons that you learn from them definitely help you go far in what you want to do. And I wouldn't be where I am today without the hill.
I honestly can't remember. Were you there at the same time as me? Did we miss each other by a year?
I think my first year at the hill was your freshman year at Hawkins, if I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, because I remember you coming in, like hearing when you came in, and they were talking very highly of you, and they were excited for you, basically prepping you to be Jeff Teat when Jeff Teat left. What was that experience like for you, getting to play with, because the way the Hill Academy works, everyone kind of practices together. So you're practicing with the varsity team a lot, even if you're a JV guy, you're kind of out there at the same time. Talk about kind of the difference at the Hill, because, I mean, one, your school's a hockey rink until now. They finally have their new facility that looks amazing, but you're at a hockey rink, you're driving, whatever, 15 minutes off campus to get to the field. A little different, but it actually helps in the long run.
Yeah. So your first question, I think it must have been a bit different when you were there, because once I think the numbers started growing a lot bigger, and then they actually started separating the practices. But my first year, we did do a lot of practicing with the older guys as well. And I remember my first red-white game, I was being guarded. So I was skinny. I was like probably at that time like 5'10" or 5'11" and like $150, and just not nearly the size I am today. And I was being guarded by Jeff Henrik, who's a senior captain at Ohio State, and he's just an absolute beast. So I just remember that was a total wake-up call, being there like first year at the Hill and doing that. But I think that definitely helped, just watching those guys play. Like Jeff T, just so smooth, and the type of player he is, and kind of trying to follow in his footsteps at the Hill was cool. And but yeah, being able to practice with them was definitely helped us. I think younger guys that I played with. And then for your other question, yeah, so obviously the Sports Village Classic Hockey Arena, place for only Hill students are able to stay. They go to school in the hockey arena. So that's obviously something that a lot of people question, like, you really enjoy like going to Hill, like it's in a hockey arena. But yeah, I think it's like kind of like the character thing. It's like Brody Merrill, like one of his favorite things to say is like too much icing, not enough cake. But at the Sports Village, you're getting the cake. There's no icing there. And when you're going to school and you have their portables outside, and then you got the weight room at the front with Coach Noble, and then you're literally walking around, and there's like random people coming in for hockey practice, and you're walking from class to class. It's really funny that way. But I think it's amazing what they're doing now with the new facility, and I think it's going to definitely grow the Hill and bring them to a higher level than they even imagined at this time. But I'm very happy that my time at the Hill was spent at the Sports Village, just because it kind of gave us that like gritty experience where we had to just like grind every day, and it just didn't feel like it was like everything is given to you. You had to earn everything. So yeah.
No, I agree with that. And then obviously you're one of a handful of guys along the names of Zach Miller, Kyle Marr, and Jeff T, as we mentioned, to play as a All-American at the All-American game at the Johnny Unitas Stadium in Towson. What was that like for you? It's probably pretty cool.
Yeah, they actually switched it over to Homewood my year last year, so I got to play on your home field, which is an awesome experience and really cool place. And I'd say it was just a really cool experience, because you see all these guys, like these other like these big recruits that you always hear about and see, but then it's like kind of that like, okay, I remember this guy, like I'll remember him when I face him next year or for the next 4 years. And I got to play with Josh Zawada, who was a teammate of mine at the Hill, who's now at Michigan, and that was just a really fun time with him. And because obviously ending our season with the Hill was really sad, and it was really tough, like taking off that jersey for the last time. But being able to play one last game with him was a really cool experience for sure. It was lots of fun.
Yeah, no, for sure. And the Hill is a great prep school in Canadian lacrosse, but they go down and compete and do so well in the U.S. High school tournaments as well. So we're going to have a little bit of fun here. We're going to do our this or that segment. I know that there are some tough ones here for you. So if you have a tie between them, all I ask is that you explain them.
Sounds good.
All right. Field lacrosse or box lacrosse?
See, this one is like I always think whenever I'm playing box, I miss field. Whenever I'm playing field, I miss box. So I got to go both for that. Just I love both so much, and that's definitely a hard one to pick, especially with field getting the shot clock added in. It definitely made that more of a fast-paced game. I think when I was younger, playing minor, I definitely enjoyed box a lot more just because of the faster pace. But with the field, with the shot clock being added in the NCAA was huge for them. And then yeah.
What was more memorable for you, your first junior goal or your first NCAA?
I'd say my first goal at Duke this year, being a freshman, scoring. It was our home opener against Air Force. It was actually on my brother's birthday, so that was a really cool experience being able to play on that day and scoring in my first game and against Air Force, and John Grant Jr. being a coach. He was coaching for Air Force at the time, so kind of cool scoring while he was on the sideline as well, who my dad got to play with. I got to watch them together growing up, so that was a really cool experience.
Do you hate to lose or love to win?
Well, I definitely hate to lose, but I definitely say love to win is more my kind of mentality for sure.
Iroquois Park or Iroquois Lacrosse Arena?
Iroquois Park, without a doubt. It's the home rink.
Workout in the gym or individual skills development during practice?
I gotta go with individual skill.
Tim Hortons or Booster Juice?
No, I love Booster Juice, but after going to school and at Duke, and there's only like Dunkin' Donuts around, I miss Timmy's a lot, so I'll have to go with Timmy's.
Subway or Firehouse subs?
Firehouse.
I think you're one of the few people that would actually say that. Let's go golfing or cottage lifestyle?
Not a great golfer, so I got to go with cottage.
Run a marathon or bike 100K?
I'll go with run a marathon, just like Will.
It sucks. I shouldn't tweet things like that.
What would you rather win, a Minto or NCAA championship? And I'm not allowing both for this one.
Wow. Yeah, being in both right now, being in the running for both right now makes that one very tough. I'd say you're saying I can't say both. I'd say whatever the next one up for me is. We have a chance at Minto. We have a chance for Minto this summer, and we actually have a season. Then I'll say Minto. But if we don't, then NCAA, and then hopefully the other one comes after that.
Oh God. NLL championship or Man Cup?
Just from the stories my dad's told me and be able to watch them, I'd say Man Cup. Just kind of that hot summer when it gets deep into August and it's just the arenas are just sweaty. Canadian lacrosse in the summer, just that kind of experience. That'd be cool. Just to how tough it is to win that and how deep you can go into a best of 7 series with a team from out west. So I'd say Man Cup.
Breakfast or dinner?
Dinner guy.
Steak or chicken?
Steak for sure.
That's awesome. We're going to talk a little bit about your junior lacrosse career here. I know you're still only 3 seasons into it. You still have 2 more years left, I believe. Hopefully you get that season in. But we're going to talk about the start. You came as a midget player and you ended up playing in the Founders Cup for the Green Yells. Can you kind of talk about that experience as a midget player getting to play in a national championship?
Yeah, for sure. That year was cool because that was the most lacrosse I played in any year for sure. Obviously playing my minor with Whippy in my last year and field in the spring and then box in the summer. And then that summer getting called up in the regular season with the Gills and the Warriors. But then after my minor season ended, I got asked to come join the Gales and the Founders, and that was obviously, it was hard to say no to that as a midget player and getting that offered. So came with the boys to that, and I think it was in Orangeville that year. So we didn't have to travel far for that, but that was really cool because it was my first step into starting my true junior career, and I didn't know where I stood kind of lineup wise, and if they like taking me for depth or whatever, but be able to play alongside some of the, it was really cool because I played with some of the guys, like the rookies on the team growing up in minor, but for the most part, it was like a lot of older guys that I kind of grew up watching when I was younger, playing that I never got the chance to play with in minor. So that was awesome being able to play with them. Guys like Kyle Curtis, Joel Watts, or not Watts. So he was he there that year? No, he was with Warriors. He was with Warriors that year. But guys like Casey, Garland was with Warriors too, actually. I'm mixing up the two teams now.
Casey, Fernandez, McWaters.
Casey, Fernandez, McWaters, right. Yeah. Peroni, like all those guys. And I grew up knowing them, and they know my dad. My dad coached a bunch of those guys like Fernie, Peroni at Wilson, and coached them in high school lacrosse. But being able to play with them was awesome. And then it was a tough end of the season, obviously losing that last game against Orangeville. But without a doubt, that was an unbelievable experience, and definitely grateful for that, and got me pumped to get into junior the next year for sure.
Casey's going to love the fact that you just shout him out. Him and Uncle Frick are two guys who are always looking for it.
That's awesome.
So you made your first actual year of junior. You made the jump into junior A right away. Had a pretty good season, 18 games, 73 points. What was it for you that made it comfortable to make that immediate jump to junior A and become obviously you were a big factor for the Warriors that year?
I'd say just the guys that I got to play with that year definitely helped me make the jump quickly. But also obviously playing junior and midget, kind of getting that quick that jump the year before and getting a little taste of it definitely helped me as well. But our captain that year was Connor Kernan, who's now a very good player. He's obviously playing well in the NLL, the Seals, and just an absolute beauty. So he was a great leader for us. And then on the left side, playing with Dawson Feed, Tanner Cook, it was really cool. And kind of making that jump was obviously tough because minor lacrosse is a lot different from junior. When you're playing with guys your age or 1 year apart, to playing with 21-year-olds when you're only 17 is definitely hard. But those guys made it easier. And whether it was them having guys that protect you because you're just like that young small guy, or just guys being there for you and helping you out on the floor just definitely helped make that easier. But we didn't finish off our season where we wanted to, but that was definitely an awesome year.
Yep, I remember playing you, and we won my last career Whippy game. I beat you guys, so I'm really happy about that because we had a hell of a rivalry.
Yeah.
But obviously, looking forward, you have 2 years left of eligibility. If you don't have the season back, they're talking about giving you the year back and turning to U22. So what are you looking forward to your last couple of years in junior?
I think the talent our team has and the potential that we have right now is amazing. And we've made a couple of trades, and we got some guys added to our offense that I think will really help us out. And our kind of team is we just want to win. And obviously it's been tough, and we've had tough playoff series that we've lost in the last couple of years, but we have experience, and there's a lot of guys that are my age on the team that want it, and those are the kind of guys like Brett Dobson, who's a goalie now, and him and Joel Watson have been kind of splitting that time ever since I started playing junior with the Warriors, and that was amazing. And now I think Dauber is ready to kind of take that start now that Joel's doesn't have any more years left of junior. So I think that having him kind of leading the way from the defensive side of things will be huge for us. And our offense is stacked, and I'm definitely really excited. And I hope we have some sort of season this year. I think we can do some special things together, but we'll see about that. And obviously, we just got to wait.
One cool thing you got to do, which I know, I mean, if you get to play with your brother, it's normally cool, but you got to play a game with your dad. Your dad came out of retirement for one day, and you had to do a double header, I think, right? Because we played earlier with the juniors, and then you played with the senior team, and you and your dad suited up together for a game. What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, that day is a day I'll never forget. We started off. We had an afternoon game against Six Nations that day for Whitby, and it was lacrosse day in Durham at Iroquois Park. So there's games on all day, and just lots of people there, and just the atmosphere was amazing. But playing that first game was battle, and that year, that was my rookie year of junior, and that was the year they won the Minto, and their defense with guys like Tyson Barberry, Jerry Stats, and Dougie Jameson and net. Definitely a tough team to face, and I was just beat up and sore after the game, obviously, but that went away as soon as the game with my dad started. It's cool enough because my dad got to play with his dad for the Redmen in the late 90s for a game or two, and my grandfather came out of retirement. He used to play for the Redmen I think in the late 70s, and then came out of retirement for that to play with my dad. So fast forward like 20 years later, being able to do that with my dad was very special. And we got the win against Coburg, and got to be a part of his last ever lacrosse game. So that's definitely something I'll never forget.
Yeah, no, certainly. That's a special memory that you'll hold on to forever. And I know Jake mentioned that U22 rule, but I'm going to call this now. By the time that happens, and if it does happen, there's going to be the Dyson Williams rule in effect where you won't be allowed to play junior because you'll be just too good for junior. So I'm just going to call that now, and we'll see what happens, but we're hoping that you do get to play at some point this season. We're going to talk about kind of your first year at Duke, and we're going to go through your recruitment process and your decision on going to Duke.
All right, so my recruitment with Duke started off, actually, it was funny enough that when I first started talking to Coach Janowski while I was at the Hill, my first year at the Hill, we talked a bit like early, it was before our spring season started, but then he hadn't had the chance to watch me live yet in person. So our first game of the year, my first ever game wearing a Hill jersey, was actually at Duke on the practice field. And both Ganowskis got to come watch, and we ended up winning that game in overtime. And that was definitely, as soon as I played in that game and saw them after, it kind of felt right. And in the conversation I had with them, and ever since I started talking to them, Coach Janowski is such an amazing man, and such a good father figure, and obviously has the most wins as a coach in Division I history. But as soon as I was getting recruited by them, and it was kind of like that dream school that I had and that I wanted to go to. So once that dream kind of became a reality, it was hard to say no to that, for sure.
How is it being able to be coached by, well, not only old man Danowski, but his son too, who's currently obviously a PLL player and someone who's still in their playing days? How cool is that to have someone that has that influence, and you even see it while he's playing, being that coach on the sidelines?
Yeah, for sure. I'd say our entire coaching staff is amazing. Having Coach Matt Danowski as well, he spends a lot of time, obviously offensively, with us, and learning from him every day is is amazing. His brain for the game is unbelievable. His lacrosse IQ is through the roof, and he sees things develop that you wouldn't even think of. And I think my game has definitely grown a lot since the last fall when I first started practicing with him, and even guys like another coach, our volunteer assistant Ned Crotty, who's another Duke legend and PLL player, and having those guys that are kind of playing right now at the same time as coaching is definitely really cool. And having them kind of mentor us every day, and watching them shoot around and just the details that they bring to the game is amazing. And there's definitely no negatives to that.
What was the biggest culture shock from you going from the Hill to Duke? What was something you really had to adapt to going into there as a freshman? Maybe not just on the field, but maybe off the field as well.
I'd say like Duke's a place where not a lot of Canadians go, and switching that kind of on and off the field too. It's like going from the Hill where it's a bunch of, for the most part, a bunch of box lacrosse players running around on the field, and obviously our game's adapted into more of a field game as well. But the way that Canadians play is a lot different than Americans typically. So kind of switching that, kind of adapting to that culture was definitely different. I think for myself on the field at Duke, I still get to bring my Canadian way on the field, which is cool, being that kind of lefty finisher. But off the field for sure it's the way the guys talk and all that kind of thing is a lot different when it comes to Americans versus Canadians.
On the field, you were having a pretty good season. 8 games played, 30 points, a 7-goal game against Richmond. Obviously, you were listed to the Tewaaraton watch list as a freshman. What really was it that helped you develop into, a freshman that could step on the field right away?
We talked about it before, but I'd say my time at the Hill definitely helped that, and as well as being coached by Brody, my dad, kind of just learning from these great lacrosse players who are also great people. So I'm learning how to grow as a person as well, because I think to step on the field as a freshman, I needed to have that character in me as well, because you're going up against huge defenders who some of them are seniors who have been in the weight room in college for 3 years already and just are bigger, stronger. But you got to have that kind of mental toughness. And I'd say my learning experiences at the Hill and playing at the Hill definitely helped me do that as well, because coaches at the Hill will put you in tough positions to kind of challenge you and push you when you're really young. So from my starting years at the Hill, doing that and kind of having to adapt quickly, and like I said before, playing that red-white game against Jeff Henrik when I'm only 15 and he's senior, he's like 18 and 19 and he's going to college next year at Ohio State. Playing that, having that experience way earlier, 4 years earlier, will help make that transition easier playing as a freshman at Duke.
Yeah, certainly. And I think lacrosse fans are really going to be excited to watch you and Duke go on national championship runs here the next few seasons. So we're going to have a little bit of fun here. We're going to do our word association game. So Jake's going to give you different words, and you got to think of someone in the lacrosse world who first comes to mind with that word.
All right. The first word's GOAT, greatest of all time.
I say there's lots of talk about who the GOAT is, but for me, growing up and watching him a lot, I'd say John Grant Jr. I was lucky enough to watch him play with my dad, and just the way he plays, I got to say he's the GOAT.
All right, goal scorer.
I'll go with Zach Greer, kind of that lefty Canadian Duke. He was the last lefty attackman to go to Duke before me, so being able to follow in his footsteps is really cool. And obviously he scored 1 million goals while at Duke, and I think his record just got passed a couple years ago by Gutterding, another Duke guy. But when I think of goal scorer, I think of him.
Playmaker.
I'll go with my dad, Shawn Williams. Great playmaker. Obviously he's a great player, but just watching him play and the way he sets up other guys is tremendous. His no looks, his everything is, awesome.
Tough.
I got a couple for this one. I never got the chance to watch either one of them, but one I'd go with my grandfather, Greg Williams. The stories I've heard from my dad and from him as well, from my grandfather as well, just he was the ultimate tough guy, and as well as Scotty McMichael. The stories I heard about him were just amazing, and stories that Uncle Frick has told me about him, and kind of the things that he used to do on the floor. I definitely have to go with them, those two for tough.
Defender.
JT Giles Harris. Absolute beast.
Goalie.
I think for my dad, like watching my dad, I think of Pat O'Toole. But for now, I think of Brett Dobson, just playing with him growing up all my life. I think of him.
Coach.
John Danowski.
Social media.
I'd say some guys in my team at Duke definitely have some good tweets, and I love seeing what they have to say. Like JT Giles Harris, Nakai Montgomery, Turner Upgren. Those guys are always fun to follow.
Agitator.
Go with Ian McKinnon or Christian Clark.
All right. Arena/stadium.
Well, box to go with Iroquois Park once again. Iroquois Pad 1, just a awesome spot to play. And then for stadium, I'll go Koskinen. Getting that little taste this year at Duke, playing on there a bit, but I can't wait for the rest of my career there.
Team.
I think of my my midget team, my last year playing minor with the Warriors.
And the last word, because it's my favorite word in the English dictionary, jackass.
Wow. I'm gonna go with the Evans brothers. I absolutely love them. Growing up watching them play with my dad. I absolutely love them, and even like Shawnee, when he first started in the NLL, he lived in our house, and he kind of took care of. He was like kind of like our living nanny at the time. It was amazing. I think I was I'm the oldest kid, and I was like 6 or 7, maybe 6 at the time. And like Tucker was just born, and he just loved it. And I love him, but watching him play, he's kind of like that Brad Marchand of the NLL, where you love having him on your team, but you hate playing against him, and just watching him kind of get under guys' skin is fun to watch. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We've heard the Evans are great guys, but we heard they like to get under guys' skins. We'll say that at the very least. And you did mention Ian McKinnon there. Funny story this year, playing against him in hockey, and Emerson Clark, another Whitby area guy. We had a big line brawl. It was all over spitting chiclets, and I can see where you get the agitator from Ian McKinnon, because I think he started that entire line brawl. So
not surprised.
Yeah, it's a great story there. So we're going to get into a kind of a more sensitive subject here. A few years ago, your younger brother, Tucker Williams, he passed away after a lengthy battle with Burkitt's lymphoma in 2014 at the young age of 8 years old. Tucker's story caught the attention of the lacrosse world and quickly spread through social media. Tucker was braver than brave. How did he kind of get that nickname or slogan, and kind of talk about your younger brother?
Yeah, so braver than brave started when he was first diagnosed, and he had his initial surgery in January, and he was in a hospital room, and one of the nurses just said to him, because he was obviously very young at the time and was kind of battling that, and I can't remember what exactly happened, but she made the comment to my parents that he's braver than brave. So it was right away that that kind of stuck as his motto and slogan, to put it in front of his fund, and kind of that thing that we used to raise money for him. And now what my family continues to raise money for other families with sick children who need the help, and are continuing to do that today. So that's what that kind of came about. But Tucker, he was an amazing young boy, and we always say about him is he was 8, but he was 8 going on 20, because his personality was unbelievable, and he was obviously an amazing hockey player, lacrosse player, but he was just a great kid, and he just loved his friends, loved his family, and just loved being around people and making people smile, laugh. So losing him I was 14 at the time was very tough, and kind of it forced me to grow up really quickly. And going through that experience is obviously the toughest thing I've ever had to go through my entire life. But the lessons I learned from him go a really long way, because his kind of view on life and the way he went about himself in 2014 while he was battling lymphoma and just wanting to still just be a kid and play, and it was really, really amazing. And I'm so proud to be his older brother, and I just want to, my kind of goal to honor him is to just continue his legacy through my life, just not just lacrosse, but also on the field and in the box, but just kind of honor him every day and wear that 51 with pride.
You donated your bone marrow to Tucker during this time. Well, again, that's something that I can't imagine. I can imagine it was an easy choice for you, but going through that with you and your family, I know it must have been tough. And I enjoy seeing every once in a while your tweets of, always remembering him. And the NLL has done a great job of promoting Braver Than Brave with its Tucker Out Lymphoma Night in Buffalo, which has become probably one of the biggest games throughout the NLL season. Most recently, I think it was Buffalo and Colorado, with your dad being the coach of Colorado. How much does that mean, having that lacrosse community supporting this?
Yeah, it goes a really long way to my family and I. And the support we got initially when he was first diagnosed was tremendous, and it goes to show how tight knit the lacrosse community really is. And the people that are part of the lacrosse community are really special, and whenever something like that happens, we're all in it together, and you realize that it's more than just a game. But yeah, the Tucker Lymphoma Night is one example of a very special way that we get to honor Tucker every year. And sadly, this year they had it. I think they played against Halifax. That was my first year that I was unable to go to it, just because I was at school in North Carolina. But it's really cool because one, getting to design the jerseys ever since I started after the first year, the band has just designed the jersey, but then I started designing it the second time they did Tucker Lymphoma game. And it's just a really cool way to kind of just design something that is special for Tucker, and getting his best friend Zach Toll to write or to think of a quote to something, a line to put on to write on the shorts for the players is another cool thing that they do. And just seeing his face on the back of the jerseys, and it just honestly just a really cool way to honor Tucker. And Scott Loeffler, who works for the Bandits, does a tremendous job every year at organizing this, and he just wants this to continue to be a game that people play, and it's cool to watch, and just it's kind of allows you to take like that back seat and think like, yeah, like it's a game, but there's a lot more to life than just that, and kind of just reevaluate everything. And yeah, so it's amazing.
Obviously, we're for people who don't know, another Whitby minor lacrosse player recently from Whitby, Dylan Waddock, was recently diagnosed with cancer. What advice or encouragement would you give to Dylan and his family?
Always stay braver than brave. Obviously, this is a tough time that they're going through, and we've gone through it. And just know that we're all rooting for you, Dylan, and stay strong, stay tough, and just never give up, honestly, and keep pushing. The way that Tucker looked at it was that he got to play, he gets to play, he's with his friends, all that, and he made sure to never take that for granted, which is amazing, because sadly Tucker got that taken from him, but he made sure the way that he lived his life that he did it for the right reasons and went about it the right way. So we're all thinking about you, Dylan, and
Yeah, no, certainly, and it is sad to hear about another story like that. But at the same time, the lacrosse community is so close, and we're all behind Dylan at this time. And I know Tucker's left his legacy, especially when I know I've reffed a few games with Steve Toller's younger son, who was Tucker's age, and it really hit me when I saw him wearing 51. So Tucker's legacy is still around, and I know Dice, you wear 51 to this day. So. We're going to have a teammate challenge here. This can include your Whitby teammates, your Hill teammates, or Duke teammates. So we're going to ask you, Jake's going to ask you a few questions, and you just kind of got to answer them here.
Alrighty.
We're looking at high school, kind of like high school superlatives in a way.
Sounds good.
All right. Who's the biggest prankster you've played with?
Got to go with Joel Watson. I sat beside him in the locker room for the Warriors for a couple of years, and just seeing what he would do. He was just a clown. So being beside him, he's definitely the prankster.
Most likely to be president or prime minister?
I'd say a guy on my team at Duke, Terry Lindsay. He's got that kind of vibe to him where I can see him standing on a podium and being like the leader of America for sure.
Who has the worst diet?
Well, I might have to go with Brett Dobson. He's got he's got the diabetes, so he has to control his blood sugar all the time. But you see him always has that. He's got pop on him all the time, or candy, or chocolate bars, whatever he needs. Sometimes he needs that little sugar boost. So I'd say that obviously he needs it, but the way sometimes he eats his junk food is funny for sure.
Best locker room DJ?
I'd say at Duke, JT Giles Harris definitely gets it going pregame. He's got a good mix, and yeah, he definitely fires the boys up.
Most likely to be a famous Hollywood actor?
Once again, a guy on my team at Duke. I actually think he takes acting classes at Duke, which is pretty funny. His name's Griffin Catlett, and I can definitely see him being like in some comedy movies in the future for sure.
Hardest working teammate?
I'm gonna go with Adam Patra. He's a teammate of mine on Whitby. He just is an absolute workhorse, and I play with him at the Hill as well. And he has always just been, he's always had that work ethic about him that he just goes at it.
Favorite teammate to play lacrosse with?
This is a tough one. I have so many. I think Graydon Hogg and I kind of gained a really good chemistry starting at the Hill. And then, well, we were lucky enough to draft Hogger, and we started playing junior A at the same time together on Whitby. So we've kind of developed that chemistry early on that is really spectacular. And then from minor lacrosse, I'd say Shawn Wesley was a great guy to play with, and we kind of fed off of each other every year. So that was awesome.
I know, certainly, and you've had a lot of success over your young career, and we're certainly rooting for you. We're going to get into our final segment here. We're going to talk about the officials in the game of lacrosse, and as you know, there has been a lot of abuse towards officials in the recent past years here in Ontario. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask you who your favorite ref is and why.
Favorite ref? I'll go with Andrew Ecclestone. He's just an absolute beauty. Whenever he's reffing our games in the summer, if there's ever like a little break and we're waiting for the play to start, and I'll say what's up to him, share a few words with him. But he's just that one of those refs that you love seeing, and just kind of he's always got that smile on his face, and he's always that kind of positive ref that you have. So yeah.
As a player, what would you recommend to other players to kind of help limit the abuse towards the officials and make the officials' jobs a little bit easier?
I'd say just kind of keep your mouth shut. Obviously, it's hard sometimes and it's intense, like heat of the moment stuff. And lacrosse is an intense game, so sometimes your emotions kind of push words out of your mouth that you don't necessarily mean. But if you keep your mouth shut and just kind of play your game, let your game do the talking, can go a long way, because one, the refs will gain more respect for you, and the game will go a lot smoother. And if you have that kind of level of conduct, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You said just letting your play do the talking. I think that's a great way to take an approach to the game of lacrosse, and that would certainly make an official's game a lot easier, and to benefit our game of lacrosse, and to help everyone out involved in the game. So, Dice, we do appreciate you coming on here and talking with us, and we wish you all the best in your future career. And for me personally, I'm excited to watch you and see how well you do throughout your career.
Yeah, thanks, boys. Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure being on here with you guys.
Whenever you play Hopkins, take it easy.
Sounds good.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Sticks and Picks Lacrosse Podcast presented by Lacrosse Unlimited. Don't forget to check out their website at lacrosseunlimited.com for all your lacrosse needs. A big thank you to True Lacrosse for their continued support in growing the game of lacrosse through our podcast. True Lacrosse provides lacrosse athletes with top-of-the-line equipment and sticks in today's game. Follow us on our social media pages on Twitter and Instagram at SticksPicksLax, and on Facebook at Sticks and Picks Lacrosse for more lacrosse content, future episode releases, and some awesome lacrosse giveaways. We are currently giving away another True Comp SF 4.0 shaft. Head over to our Instagram page for more details. Every Thursday night, you can watch Major Series lacrosse games on Facebook for free, and you can also enter the 50-50 contest to win some cash.